Hey you guys, this is Aubrey with Knitting by Aubrey, and today I'm going to show you how to cast off or finish your knitting. This is the most simple technique. There's different techniques to do it, but this is my most simple technique. So let's get started. Today I'm going to show you how to cast off or finish your knitting. Here I have a piece. This is the seed stitch, and I'm just going to finish it and take it off of the needles. You can see that I have 20 stitches on my needle, so we're going to cast off 20 stitches. To cast off, I'm going to start by knitting one row. You can see that the seed stitch has a series of knit and purl stitches, but today I'm just going to cast off in plain knitting. So I'm going to knit a row across. You can totally cast off in the seed stitch, but it doesn't necessarily match the cast on. And so I really like to knit one row and then cast off, so it kind of looks the same on both edges. I'll finish my row here, and then we'll do the actual cast off step. There we go, my row is done. Okay, to finish our knitting, we're going to finish one stitch at a time. So I'm going to start by knitting one stitch. Now I'm going to knit another stitch. And I'm going to take the right stitch and pull it over the top of the left stitch and off of the needle. Then I'm going to pull tight. Then I will make another stitch and do the same thing, right over the top of the left and pull off. So watch it again. I'm going to do this all the way across the row to finish my knitting. You can use your needle to pull the stitches over the top, or you can use your fingers. It's up to you. Today I'm using my needles. Okay, you can see that we've finished a little bit of our knitting on the right, and it's just dangling off of the needles. And you do this method clear across the row. It's kind of like a folding over or a knot that you're tying, and this is how you finish the edge and make it look like your cast on edge. You really want those to match or else they won't look good. You are going to continue this cast off method until you get to the very, very last stitch. Here's our last stitch. We're almost done. Look at this. Okay, you can see that our knitting is dangling, and that's what we want. I'm going to take this long piece of yarn attached to the ball of yarn, and I'm going to cut it. Make sure that you cut it long so you have enough to weave in the ends of our yarn. So just cut. So now you're going to have that one last stitch and the end of yarn, just like this. You're going to take your needle and you're just going to pull straight up and get the end of the yarn through your loop, just like this. And then pull your yarn end tight. Now you're all done. Isn't this great? So you can see how our knitting has been finished, and you're going to have your two ends of yarn poking out, and that is okay. Let's watch some casting off of some thinner yarn. This is medium yarn. We're number 4 on number 8 needles. So I'm just going to use the same technique. This is only knitting stitches, and so I'm just going to knit, no purl. So knit 1 stitch, knit 2 stitches, and pull the right one over the top of the left one, all the way off the needle, and pull tight. Then continue. And you're going to do this stitch by stitch so you can make sure that it's nice and tight and doesn't have any loose spots in it. Okay, we've gotten to our last stitch. Here we go. So same thing. I'm going to take the yarn connected to the ball and I'm going to cut it. And it's going to be a long end. And then you're just going to pull straight up with your needle. And so the end of the yarn is going to come through and create a knot. I'm going to pull tight. So you can actually feel the knot there. It's very tight. And that's how you finish it. So to weave in the ends, there's many different techniques. And sometimes I just like to use a needle and just thread it through the stitches of my knitting and then tie a knot and cut it off. You're just wanting to hide it in there so that you can't unravel it, you can't see the end poking out. But mainly you want this thing to be tight. You don't want it to ever come undone because you've just finished it. You really don't want to fix it again. And that's it.